So, the 76ers playing against the Celtics, they are 0-3 against them this season, and Embiid wants to change that as he moves the pivot foot so well and starts off really hot in this game as he was just going for it every damn time. And Jason Tatum was responding at least early on as he had quick 7 points here in the first quarter. And this was a funny miss by Paul Reed, and overall the Sixers had some really rough misses, and Malcolm Brogdon had 11 points quickly here off the bench as he looks to secure the 6th man of the year, while of course Embiid looks to secure that MVP, right? And Harden and Embiid were having a blast with this defense as there was no Jaylen Brown and no Robert Williams tonight. But the 3-point shooting, Al Horford finally knocks one down as Al Horford has been one of the kryptonites for Embiid, and Malcolm Brogdon knocks it down here. It's still funny that Al Horford played with Embiid and was in Philadelphia. Still feels kind of weird. But this was the biggest shot of the night in my opinion. James Harden with the step back, however you want to call it, 3-pointer, to stop the momentum for the Celtics as he basically, brought the Sixers right back in it. Embiid with the spin move dunk gives the Sixers a 6-point lead with a minute to go. And it was an unsung hero, PJ Tucker. Even though he pump faked himself, he knocks it down. He had 3 huge 3-pointers here in this fourth quarter. And despite all of that, the Celtics had a chance to tie it here after some really weird-ass ending, because the Sixers almost blew it, but Tatum couldn't knock down the fadeaway, and the Sixers get their first win over the Celtics in these 4 games that they played each other. Even though there was no Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams, this actually, I think, is a really important win for Philly, because I think they really needed it to have the confidence and have some confidence against these Celtics. While the bench was horrific, nobody off the bench showed up except for Jalen McDaniels, who was pretty alright. Shout out to him. Everybody else played really badly off the bench. Tyrese Maxey had a really off game, was in foul trouble, had an off game offensively, but Embiid just took over. It was Embiid. It was insane. 52 and 13, 20 of 25 from the field, 12 of 13 from the free throw line, 2 blocks, 6 assists to 3 turnovers. Just absolutely incredible performance. This was truly, he wants to secure that MVP. And with Jokic losing to the Rockets after coming back from an injury, I think, might be still Giannis in there, of course, because Giannis has been hooping. And he certainly deserves a shout there. But it feels like this will be Embiid's MVP in the end. Shout out PJ Tucker, he was phenomenal down the stretch. And Harden, even though he didn't play well overall, he had a really, good fourth quarter, I would say. Overall wise, but what a game, man. It was truly Embiid just saying, hey, let me cook, get on my back, guys. I'll win this one for us. And he did. He just simply did. And the Sixers are now locked in pretty much to this third seed. I'm pretty sure they have the tiebreaker over the Cavaliers, so they can be worse than the third seed, which is great for them. The question is, can they still catch Boston? It's very unlikely, but they have a mathematical chance. And of course, first round playoff series at home, starting probably against Brooklyn, maybe against Miami. We still, that's still a race that's gonna be going on, as Miami has turned it up a little bit, even though they beat the Pistons tonight, of course. While the Nets lost to the Timberwolves, so it's gonna go down to the wire there to see who Philly faces. But we got our first look in Cavs Knicks, which we'll talk about. I'll talk about it soon enough. While the Celtics, on the other hand, played a really solid game without, Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams. The bench, besides Malcolm Brogdon, didn't contribute really. Shout out to Mike Muscala. He had some solid minutes, at least defensively. And they tried a lot of things on Joel Embiid. They played Blake Griffin a lot in the fourth quarter, which was an intriguing move that kind of worked as he rebounded well, but they just didn't have enough bodies to stop Embiid today, man. They just didn't have enough. Al Horford wasn't knocking down his 3-pointers, which would have at least countered Embiid a little bit, right? He had 11, 8, and 6. And overall, they knocked down 15 of 45, which is not enough to counter how easy Embiid had it in the inside. The Sixers shot overall 50% from the field, right? And you made just 4 more 3-pointers than them. It's just not gonna cut it, unfortunately, for the Celtics. And overall, a really fun, intense game, actually, that went down to the wire. It was insane what Embiid was doing. Shout out Derek White continuing his great season. Tatum struggled after that first quarter, but hey, it happens. He's still fine, of course.